Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to go ahead with problem set 12 in your modules. I also have a picture posted on Schoology if you didn't have your workbook home with you. Before we begin, I just want to show you, today we're going to be comparing fractions, and we're going to be comparing them to a benchmark fraction, which brings me to what is a benchmark fraction? So a benchmark fraction is something that we use that is like a familiar fraction that we know the size of. So for example, 1 whole, we know the size of one whole object. So it's easy to compare to half. So 1/2 is an easy benchmark fraction. It's something for us to compare to. So for example, if we were comparing 1/2 and 3/4, we could compare them just by seeing, okay, I know it's bigger than 1/2 or I know it's smaller than 1/2. So it's a reference point. So a benchmark fraction is a way that we can reference how we're comparing to something. So it's a reference point. Okay, let's begin. Let's get started. Our directions for number 1 say plot the following points on the number line without measuring. So obviously we know it's not going to be exact, but that's okay. We can give each other a little leeway. So our first one is 1/3, meaning that we need to break this up because the denominator is 3. We need to break it up into 3 equal parts. So 3/3 would be here at 1 whole. 1 whole would be 3/3. So if I took that and broke it apart, I'd have like 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. Okay? So we have 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. Next, we have 5/6. That means 6/6 is the same as 1 whole. So we're going to break this apart into 6 equal parts. 3/6 is halfway because 3 out of 6 is 1/2. So we would know that this would be like 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6. So we would have 5/6. We also have 1/3. And last we have 7/12. So we're going to break this apart into 12 parts. We know that 12/12 would equal 1 whole. And we know that 6/12 is a half, is 1/2 because it's half of 12. Now we can count apart and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, try that one on your own. Sorry if mine looks a little confusing. I kind of started plotting all of them. So we have 1/3. You should have 5/6, and you should have 7/8. And what we did is we're going to compare those using benchmark fractions. To make it easier, I just rewrote it because mine, I started going a little overboard and labeling them all. So our next part says to compare the fractions. So first we have 7/12 and 1/2. So let's first find them. We have 7/12 and we have 1/2. We know the bigger number would be closer to the number 1 because number 1 is bigger than 0. So look here and see which one's bigger or which one's closer to the whole number. 7/12 or 1/2. We're going to use our symbols greater than, less than, or equal to, and we know that the greater than symbol eats the bigger number. So for 7/12, it's greater than 1/2, also known as it's bigger. Let's try the next one. Boys and girls, just a little side note. When I used to teach 3rd grade, I'd have students who'd say, oh, well, 7 and 12 is bigger than 5 and 6. So 7 is bigger than 5. Remember, with fractions, we're talking about how they're divided up into parts. So if we were thinking about a pie, we would know that this has 12 slices of 1 pie, and this has 6 slices. If you don't like the number line, you could always draw out the actual fractions. So we have 5/6, so I could break this apart into 6 equal parts. And we could color in 5 of them. And then we can break this apart into 12ths, and we can color those in to see which one's bigger. So if this is 6, I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we would color in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we could easily see that this is greater than 5, 6 is greater than. This was my 7/12. Or friends, we can always go back to our number line. Completely up to you. You could draw the picture or you could do the number line. Remember, when you draw that picture, the one hole has to be the same. If not, it doesn't work, okay? Okay, so now that I showed you the deeper understanding of it, I want to take a minute and kind of show you a shortcut. So it's asking us to compare the fractions. We learned this in class back in March. We'll see if you remember. If we have 2/3 and we have 2/5, I showed you you can use the number line. You can even draw out the fraction, or my favorite method, you can cross multiply. So 2 times 5 is 10. And 3 times 2 is 6. So I know 2/3, 10, is greater than 6. So I would put the greater than symbol. Okay? That's one way you can do it. Let's do it again for D. So I have 9/10, and I'm comparing it to 3/5. So what I could do is I could cross multiply. 9 times 5 is 45. 10 times 3 is 30. So I know 9/10 is greater than 3/5. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try 2/3 compared to 7/8. Again, you could do your number line and compare it to a benchmark fraction of either 0, a half, or 1 as a reference point. You can draw it out, or you could do the cross multiplying method. Your choice. Check back with me in a minute. So pause your video. Awesome, boys and girls. What I want you to do is I want you to try F. I guess there's 2 F's. F and F. 1/3 compared to 2/4. 2/3 compared to 5/10, and 7/16 compared to 51/100. And then check back. Now remember, some of you can definitely do the mental math, but I need to see that work. So if you're doing 3 times 2 and 4 times 1, I know you could probably handle that mentally, but let me see your work. Let me see what you're coming up with. All right, pause your video and then check back. Ladies and gentlemen, take a moment to check your work for these ones, making sure that you showed your work, whether you did the number line, if you drew out your fractions, or if you did the cross multiplying. And then what I need you to do is I need you to flip your book over to the homework side, and that there's 4 I want you to try all by yourself. So this is what I want to see at the end of the week when you send me your work, or if you do it at the end of the day. I'm looking for these 4 to compare. Again, use whatever strategy works for you. A lot of you have been emailing me, Mrs. Andrews, do I have to do the number line? Or you do what works for you, okay? Just make sure you're showing me your work so I understand how you got your answer. So you're going to do these 4 and send it to me. And then don't forget to go on Schoology and to do today's exit ticket. And then on Friday, what I do is I open these up with your bell work so you can make corrections. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.